Today we are going to discuss a very important aspect of a pump, running pump, that is called is affinity law. Affinity law means the change of pump capacity with respect to pump capacity, its head, its power, NPHH requirement with respect to change in RPM. So affinity law is telling that it is capacity is directly proportional to the RPM change. Means suppose Q2 is your final capacity, Q1 is your initial capacity, then Q2 is equal to Q1 D2 by D1. It is directly proportional to diameter as well as directly proportional to the RPM. Q2 is equal to Q1 into N2 by N1, but it is not directly proportional when we consider head, discharge head, to differential head. So it is the final head will be the initial head into change in diameter to the power square, or final head is equal to initial head into change in RPM, N2 by N1 square. It is directly not directly proportional, but directly proportional to the square of diameter or square of RPM. Similarly, power requirement will be the cube of diameter change or cube of RPM change. But if you at the same time if you combine both diameter and RPM, then the total equation will be Q2 will be for change in RPM. Q2 means final discharge capacity is equal to Q1 into if you D2 by D2 into N1 by D1 N1, directly proportional to diameter as well as the RPM. Similarly, for head, it is directly proportional to diameter and head square. Similarly, power, diameter and diameter change and head change to the power Q. Next is your you see the picture how it is look like. That is the flow, that is the speed. If you are changing the speed, your flow will increase directly, directly proportional. Directly 10% increase in speed, 10% increase in flow, directly proportional, or 10% increase in diameter, 10% increase in flow. But in pressure or head, it is to the power square. That means its shape will be like this, like a parabola, and for power it will be like another further stiff, so it will look like this. So if you change the RPM 10%, uh, your flow will increase or decrease 10%. But if your head, when you decrease the RPM by 10%, your head will decrease by 19%, and your increase the RPM, your head will increase by 21%. You see there is a change in the not proportional and not also the same. For decrease it will be slightly less than the increase. Similarly, for power also it is not proportional to the power Q. You change 10% increase in RPM, your power requirement will decrease in RPM, your power requirement will come down to 27%, and if you increase the RPM, your power requirement will increase to 33%. 33%. And so you see how this picture 19%, 21%, 27% and 31% has come. The 33% has come. That will explain here. You see, first I have told you capacity with respect to RPM and with respect to diameter. If we change RPM, increase 10%, then you see the final capacity will be how much? Q2 is equal to N1 by N2, N2 by N1, as you see 1.1 N1. So 10% increase in flow. Similarly, 10% decrease in flow, that means N1 by 0.9 N1, that is Q2 is equal to 0.9, that means 10% decrease in flow. But in head case, you see H2 is equal to your N1 by N2 to decrease in RPM, increase in RPM. So to N1 by N1 into 1 to the power square, then your H2 will be 1.21, 1.1 square mean 1.21, 21, 1.21 H1, 21% increase. And for decrease, it is 0.9 to the power square. That means it will be around 0.81, 19% decrease in height. Similarly, for power requirement, it will be to the power q. 1.1 to the power q means 33% increase in power, and 1.1 10% decrease means 0.9 to the power q means 0.73. That means 23% decrease in power. So how this 27% and 33% or 21% or 19% or 10% has come, that I have already explained in this picture, in this calculation. It is very easy to understand. But what is the implication? Suppose you want to increase the capacity requirement of the pump, your plant has increased 10%. So pump capacity also you have to increase the 10%, flow increase 10%. So either you can increase the RPM. So 10%, 10% increase in RPM is nothing. So your drive, you increase the RPM, by the turbine speed you increase 10%. What will happen? Your capacity will certainly increase. At the same time, power will increase. Your head will increase. So 10% increase in your capacity. You need a higher pipe, and at the same time, pressure will increase to 21%. That means if you know the formula, PD by hoop stage, PD by 2T, diameter increase, so PD by 2T. So T will thickness of the pipe, P also increase, D also increase, so thickness of the pipe will increase. Thickness of the pipe increase means your cost implication will be there. Very good, big cost implication will be there. Similarly, for power also you have seen the power requirement will increase to 33%. So it is not only the capacity, you have to think in totality. Your air requirement, your material requirement will come because your diameter has increased, thickness will increase, so material cost will increase, and at the same time the power requirement will also increase. So you have to always, before taking a decision, you have to think, deliberate it in totality. One calculation I have shown you here, that is, suppose a pump is running with 1750 capacity, initial capacity was 1000 gallon per minute, height is 300 feet, NPH requirement is 12 feet, and power requirement is 100 HP. Suppose you increase its RPM by 2000 from 1750 to 2000. What will happen? Q2 will increase proportionately, you see, directly proportional, but height you see has increased 392. Earlier it was only 300 feet. Now height has increased to 392. And power, earlier it was only 100 HP. Now it has come down, increased to 149, around 50% increase in power. And NPSH is also increased. That is, you see, it is directly proportional, as it NPSH is also hit. So it is directly proportional to the NPSH required. You see, it is 16 feet NPSH required, head is required to run the pump. So all these calculations, has really make you think seriously that your not only capacity but power, head and NPSH you have to calculate and take a final decision. When you are taking a decision that you increase the RPM, then you can think of to either to diameter change or RPM, but you can combine it also. So your diameter change requirement will be your RPM change will also be minimum, and diameter change also will be minimum. But when you are cutting the diameter, what will happen? You should not cut the shrouds. These are the shrouds, only impeller, because I have told you in the initial slides that there is a cut water we are maintaining with the impeller dia with the casing. That is how much? Now 4%. That is the minimum clearances is required. If you increase the clearances, your recirculation will increase, or if you decrease the clearances, vaporization will take place. So it will be combined. It will combine. That means either it will be better you do a combine. You do some diameter change as well as the RPM change. So drastical diameter change at RPM change is not required. So head requirement will also be slightly less. Head because you are increasing the diameter or decreasing the diameter slightly. So and RPM slightly. So your final head will be slightly less than if you choose only RPM or only diameter. Then you see the graph. The pump manufacturer, they are always used to give several performance curve of several impeller. You see 7.5 impeller, 8-inch half impeller, 8.12. This is the head versus capacity curve they have given. This is the performance curve, head versus two curve, and this is the power requirement of this curve. You should 2 HP, 3 HP, 5 HP. This one is the NPSH requirement. The vertical lines, and they mention it here also. Mention it here also. These are the efficiency point. These are the these curvature line are efficiency point. They are the efficiency point. So our aim shall be to choose a impeller which is very close to this, where your best efficiency point 74%. So if you are you have to choose a impeller, suppose for your requirement is 50, your requirement is 50, then your diameter should be how much? Around 160, and your power NPH requirement should be how much? 3.5 feet, 3.5 feet. Like this, if you get this curve, you can calculate your selection. It will help you to select your pump, how much diameter of the impeller, how much total height you are getting, or in which efficiency it is running. If you if your capacity and head is fixed, then it may not be in your higher. You may not be cannot select a pump which will of higher efficiency. You have to select a pump slightly sacrifice and select a pump. Try to select a pump between 74 to 73 region. So it will help you to, if you get this car. So I have told you till now the all the slides about the affinity law. It is very important, and it always if you face the interview, and interviewer always asks very favorite questions, that if you are changing the RPM, uh, what is the other parameter or change RPM, what will happen to head, and what will happen to its capacity, and how it is how it shall be seen in totality. That type of question may be asked to you, and if you go through this, you can reply it. And if you have any doubt till now, you can mail me in my mobile number, as well as my mail ID has already given to you.